3000C. In the last episode we upgraded the y-axis to a linear rail, and that should work really well, but we need to re-level the bed now and move the limit switch because it's a lot higher, and that's what I'll show you in this video. Stay tuned. So as I said, we have raised the bed quite a bit, and that means that the C limit switch needs to sit a lot higher so the nozzle don't crash into the bed. As you can see, if I move it down, there's more than a centimeter to the switch, and if I continue to move it, it will crash into the bed. So first, tighten all of the springs so they are almost all the way tightened, and then we'll have to raise the switch up. So put the nozzle slightly above the bed, as you can see right here. We just move it down until there's a small gap so you can move it slightly up with the springs later, and then you have to loosen the bolts that hold the limit switch in place. It just sits right there with T-nut. Then move it up until it clicks, and tighten the bolt screws again and make sure the T-nuts actually turn, and then well, continue with the next step. That is to turn on the printer, and then we'll go in the menu on the LCD and home. So now it's home right there. I will have to wait for that. Just like that. Now we can see that it sits slightly above the bed, and now we'll move to all of the corners and adjust, and if it's too high or too low, you can move the switch a bit more, but make sure there's a small gap in between. You can see right here about how big it should be, maybe slightly smaller. You can use paper if you want, but I like to just look at the gap and make sure that you can see like a small amount of light. If you just line up with the bed, that's quite easy as well. Just like that, and then you move it to all four corners and then to the center. And if you have a bed that isn't completely level, you might not be able to do this completely right, but it might be slightly too far in the center and slightly too close on the edges, but you might be able to print as well, even if it's not completely flat. So once you done that, you can go to the SD card and slice up a model to try to level the bed, and that's probably the easiest way to print something and adjust while it's printing the last little bit to make it perfect. So I used the bed leveling Marvin from Ender3, and that's just a regular Marvin, but it has a big skirt so you can see on all the edges, and it's a circle as well, so if it's not right, it will come off. So then you just feel on it so it sticks, but it shouldn't be like it's like you can see through it. It shouldn't be translucent, and you shouldn't be able to just take it off with a finger on top. So adjust the four corners when it's doing the skirt, and then if you're not happy with it, just stop the print before it starts printing the actual model in the center, and do it again till you um, think it's good. Um, and if you do it perfect right here and the bed isn't flat, it might not be perfect in the center, so you might have to adjust it so it sticks on all four corners. So right here, now it's sticking on all the sides, and now let's move to the center and print right there, and it works fine. So now I'll show you how it should look like. You see right here, it won't stick because the filament isn't squished against the surface. It's just like the round shape of the nozzle, but not quite touching. And this is too close when it's like transparent in the middle, but it gets squished up because it tries to escape the gap in between the nozzle, and you can feel that like it's rough, and it can even start lifting if you print a lathe. So it should be like it's the same smooth top surface above, and so you won't see any gaps in between, and it won't be like uh, rough or something. And then you can usually just see, and you know right here, if you have it like that, they will be really loose, so you can just pull them off, and there's gaps in between. And right here you can see when it's lowered, the nozzle has passed and then pushed up the plastic in between, and that's why it can start lifting. So you should just have a completely smooth top surface, and that you can feel that when you're printing the first layer as well. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I see you in the next one. Bye.